Alright guys, so today we are going to be spending some time actually talking about a cool little feature called Split View, as well as a little bit of just mission control, so if you guys aren't aware of what that is. But we'll talk and start with the Split View mode. Now this is pretty important. Uh, First off, I'm going to bring up just an application. I'll bring up an application like Safari. And in Safari, if you look in the top, you'll see the top left-hand corner, there's a red, a yellow, and a green. And of course, that's close, minimize, and full screen. If we were to hit full screen, it would go full screen. If we hit the escape key again on the top left-hand corner, that's going to bring us out of full screen. Or if we're in full screen, if we go right up to the top, you'll see that green button again, and we can click it down. But sometimes we want to actually be able to use two different programs at the same time. So we can simply just drag these around by grabbing one of the outside edges and moving that screen around if we so choose. But that's a little time consuming. So I'm actually going to open up two pieces of software. So right now I have Safari open, as well as we have right now the Mail app open. Now of course I have no mail in here, which is fine. But moving these around takes a little bit of time. But when you have the two programs open that you want, if you go up to this green button again and you hold it, so don't just click on it but hold it, you'll actually see that the screen behind it, there's these little blue shadings that happen. Now this means you can put this on whichever side you want, and then what happens is it says which other piece of software. Now I only have one, but if you had two or three other pieces of software that were currently open, you'd have all three of them listed here, and you pick the one that you want to fill up the second half of the screen. So I click on that, and there we go, we're in dual screen mode. Now you can grab the center, and you can see you can move that screen around. So if one program you needed to have more space than the other, you could drag that around, which is great. Now when you're done with these pieces of software, of course, these are both in a full screen mode, so you really need to either bring it out of full screen or close it. So I'm going to actually go to Safari and quit that one, which will actually put Mail back in full screen, which means now that I have to go back up here and quit Mail when I'm done as well, but can be really useful. The other thing that I wanted to make sure you guys notice, and I'm going to bring Safari back up here again, and when we talk about this, there's again that green button that we said is full screen. If you look really close at this video, hopefully you guys can see this. It is a full screen icon, so it's two little tiny arrows that are pointing to the bottom left and one to the top right. Now if you come down and hold your option key, you'll see that that actually turns into a plus button. And when it's a plus now, it'll actually go big, but it won't go into full screen. It'll actually just go as big as the screen needs to get to show you everything. So Safari of course doesn't need to go really big, but if I were to bring up a program, say like Mail, again, I'm going to bring this out of full screen. This is how it usually presents itself. So if you again hold your option key down, you'll see it goes sort of full screen, takes up all the space, but you retain your menu bar and you retain your dock. So some people really like that. So be aware, normally full screen, but it can be with the option key used as just the ability to make it maximize the screen. So kind of cool. Now the last thing I wanted you guys to see a bit again was the actual mission control. So mission control is accessible for some of us with our keyboard. You can actually see mission control if you hit the F3 key, which will bring up mission control. If you actually take three of your fingers and push straight up, if you have a trackpad, that'll bring up mission control as well. And what it's really designed for is for multitasking, for those of us that really need to be able to see where our software is and be able to move between them. So number one, I'm going to bring up Safari, Mail, and Notes. And because all three of these pieces of software are open right now, sure, no. And I need to be able to move between them. I can take my three fingers on my trackpad again. If you just take any three and just kind of go from the middle and just glide up, you'll see that the screens separate. And when they separate like that, now I can choose which one I want to see. Now this isn't a working screen, but this is a screen to be able to move around. So I can say I want to go back to Safari. So click Safari, take my three fingers, drag up, right? They separate. Oh, I want to go back to my notes. Click, right? Vice versa. Okay, kind of nice way to move around. Now, also, if you take your screen, what do you want? Maybe you want it on a different desktop. So one of the big bonuses of the Mac is to be able to have virtual desktops. So I'm going to take this screen, I'm literally going to just push it up against the top of the screen. And you'll see that when you do this, you get this bar show up. So if you hold it there, it'll actually say, would you like to put it in full screen? You'll see it says notes, add, or I can drag it all the way over here to this plus and let go. And what happens is I get a second desktop. Now when I'm up here, I can always just add desktops myself. And at this point say, I would like mail to be on this desktop, and now I have this one over here. So now when I slide between my desktops, I actually have the ability to have software separated, which is kind of nice. Be aware, don't get in the habit of just making desktops because you can. Not always the best reason. Again, I'm going to take 3 fingers now and glide upwards on my trackpad so I can see those desktops, 1, 2, and 3. And if you hover over any one of them, you'll see that you get the little X. And if you delete the desktop, it doesn't delete the software running. So if I close this, that piece of software here will move to the primary desktop again, right? If I take this and close it, the software will move to the primary desktop. And they're all back here again. A very nice way to move around between software, but don't use it if you don't feel you need to. It can be a little confusing if you're not aware where your software is. I have a habit of probably using, maybe 2 or 3 desktops at maximum, but a lot of times I'm just using a single. But it is a nice piece of software, and I hope you guys enjoy this video, and we will talk to you again later.